Good take or deep reach.
Hey, we're back. It's Dan Riccio and Randip and Dan for another edition of Good Take or Deep Reach, and getting ready for more punishment in the comments. We are now at the midway point of the season for the North Division. Every team has hit the 28-game mark, and while the Leafs remain the favorite to rule the North, Winnipeg and Edmonton have closed the gap. Randip, who do you think is the bigger threat to win the North?
I've said it before, I'll say it again. This is the Oilers to me. They've got high-end talent, two of the best players in the NHL, but it doesn't stop there. I know that's the easy answer. People in the comments are going to say, oh, this guy's going with McDavid and Draisaitl again. No. They got two top 12 defensemen in scoring as well. And now, in the last couple of weeks, you've seen a new Edmonton Oilers. Again, this is a situation where they can play low-scoring games. They can win low-scoring games. So it's the offense and the defense combined. That's why it's the Oilers.
Well, I can see your argument there, and it's easy to choose McDavid and Draisaitl. And while I did call the Jets overrated recently, after watching them take 5 of 6 points from the Leafs, something the Oilers couldn't take any from Toronto recently, I'm kind of buying shares of Winnipeg. Everyone's going to point to their underlying numbers and say their Corsi's no good and their expected goals percentage is terrible. And I get that. I fell into that trap too. I mean, those are indicators that fail to tell the whole story, though. Winnipeg has been playing this way since they lost Trouba, since they lost Bufflin and Myers all in the same offseason. They kind of just play on the counterattack. That is their strength. They are high-end in their forwards. They've got speed with Ehlers and Scheifele and all those guys. They score with the chances that they get, and that's what makes them a threat, even though they are a bit of a flawed team.
Okay, yeah. They live by Connor Hellebuyck and they die by Connor Hellebuyck. And listen, he's a Vezina winning goalie, so you're going to win a lot of games. But here's the problem. Defensively, they are flawed. Neil Pionk has played great this year. He's among the league leaders in points. But what do you have behind him? Josh Morrissey having a terrible year. Dylan DeMello, he's not playing the way that you probably wanted him in Winnipeg. I know there's some complaints coming out about his play. So Connor Hellebuyck, he's a great goalie. But if he stumbles like you did at the beginning of the year, Reach, you're in a problem. You've got a pretty big problem there. So to me, the Winnipeg Jets, yes, they've got the high-end talent, they've got the great goaltending, but defensively, they give up a lot. Only 2 teams have given up more high-danger chances than the Winnipeg Jets. The Vancouver Canucks, who have not been playing that well this year, and the Ottawa Senators. Need I say more?
Well, I mean, you can bet on Connor Hellebuyck. I mean, he is the Vezina Trophy winning goalie for a reason, and he's really starting to find his form again this year. And hey, Laurent Brossoit, I mean, he's been pretty good. He played well against the Leafs last week. He stonewalled the Canucks a couple of times, a couple weeks before. These are goalies that you can rely on. I know Mike Smith has had a good start to the season, and he's been arguably one of the better goalies when it comes to save percentage. But do we really think that that's going to last, Randip? You really think that Mike Smith is going to cover up all of Tyson Barrie's mistakes for the remainder of the season? I mean, come on, that's a bit of a deep reach there.
Okay, even I'm not going to stand up for Mike Smith completely, but 921 save percentage is a 921 save percentage. The guy has been winning games all year long after he came back from his injury. And listen, this team is not designed for Mike Smith to steal them games. The game breakers are the ones that steal the games for this team. So this is a different Edmonton Oilers team. They're not the 6-5 team that you expect, hey, they're going to score 6 goals and their goalie's going to allow a bunch of goals. No, that's not the way they play. Dave Tippett has made them play a little bit more defensive. They're a little bit more disciplined, and their bottom 6 doesn't score points, but responsible defensively. And that's the key point here. It's not Mike Smith out on an island anymore like it was previous years with the other goalies. This year, he's got some support. So you can use that as an Achilles heel. But what I'm saying is, the strong franchise players on the Edmonton Oilers are the game breakers. They're not relying on Mike Smith to win games. Come on.
Randip, you are like Mr. Trademark of the depth guy. You know, like that is what your go-to argument always is. Depth this, depth that. And yet here you are, you know, standing for the team that lacks depth quite a bit. You know, the Oilers, they live and die with their game breakers, as you just said. The Jets are the one team that can rival not just any in the North, but any team across the league with the depth of their forwards. Nikolai Ehlers, you know, everybody talks about Scheifele and Wheeler, but Nikolai Ehlers has arguably been their best forward this season. Dynamic every single night. And that's one thing the Oilers do not have. That being said, if you are Ken Holland, put your GM cap on.
Yep.
Is there one area you would improve the Oilers to truly make them a contender?
Scoring winger is the area that I'm looking at. I know a lot of people are going to say goaltending, but that isn't it for me. Scoring winger, you talked about that depth, and yes, that is a problem for the Edmonton Oilers. They need to have a few more guys behind Draisaitl, Nugent Hopkins, McDavid to provide that scoring. And if there's one player that I'm looking at that could be a potential buy low option, Edmonton's very own Jake DeBrusk in Boston. That's a guy that I look at to say, you can bring him home. He hasn't had a great year in Boston. He's been a healthy scratch out there, but he's a player that would be able to thrive in that middle six in Edmonton. So for me, it is Jake DeBrusk in Edmonton. How about you? The same question for Winnipeg, though.
I think it's pretty obvious. If they could get Matthias Ekholm, that would really put the Jets over the top. Neil Pionk has played really well this year. I'm actually higher on Josh Morrissey than you are. Slander being thrown there. But if they can add Matthias Ekholm to that D group, I think that would make the Jets a really formidable opponent. You can comment which side of the argument are you on, or maybe you're with Montreal, or you really want to go with a deep reach, Calgary, and how hot they've been since Daryl Sutter took over. Let us know in the comments. Like and subscribe as well. We'll be back with another edition of Good Take or Deep Reach.